So you started a street food business, you're looking ahead to the next summer, you're thinking, what events can I book into? Everyone's saying you should go and do food festivals, you'll smash it, it's amazing. You're looking at the Glastonbury pitch fee. Whoa, wait right there. Hold your horses. Here's 10 mistakes that you can make that will cost you big time and how to avoid them. And number one is the biggest piece of advice that I could give you. So these mistakes are relevant to any event that you've got booked in. They're relevant to most street food setups as well. So number 10 is not getting there early enough to set up. When you book into an event, they'll give you a time. So say 7 till 9 is the setup time for traders. Get there at 7. If they say that you can come the day before, go the day before. Why? Well, reason number one is because you might have neighbours. Neighbours are lovely. They're contacts, you know, they're people you can chat to when it's a bit quiet, but they might set up all of their stuff with big vans, and you might have a donut guy with a massive van parked sort of on an angle, and it might restrict your access when you want to set up. If you've got a trailer or if you want to run wires to shared electrics, anything like that, you might get your access restricted. That's point number one. The second reason is because if you know that your setup takes 2 hours and you get there 2 hours before your setup, bang on time for the footfall, and you realise you've forgotten something, then how are you going to sort that? You can't, it's too late. If you get there 4 hours before the footfall comes in, you've then got those 2 hours to go and sort it. If you've forgotten something really important, or if you've got to go and get something, anything, some ingredients, a bit of equipment, anything like that, or if there's traffic, there's so many reasons why you should go and set up at the earliest time possible. That's mistake number 10. Mistake number 9 is not having any backup equipment. Now, backup equipment, you won't realise that you need it until everything goes wrong. There are things that you can think about that could really affect you if they went wrong. And what normally goes wrong? Technology. So, for example, your carb machine. If that decides to do a software update when you turn it on 5 minutes before the event, and that software update takes an hour, and it takes even longer because it can't hold on to any signal because it's weak, what are you gonna do? Think about that. So, for example, with my Square carb machine, it decides to do a software update every time we turn it on. Don't know why, it just does it. So we always turn it on an hour beforehand. But I know that if that goes wrong, in the app for the Square card machine, I can actually take contactless payments on my iPhone. Things like that are the things that could really mess me up if that wasn't in place, and I have had to do that a few times. It's just one of those things that you need to think about. Have a backup, have things like, if you use gas, have spare gas hoses. If you have card machines, have a backup plan for your card machine. Even if you have to go and get a cheap sum up card machine, just have it there as a backup to use. So mistake number 9 is to not have any backup equipment at all. Mistake number 8 is to have a poor workflow. You might have got your workflow sorted, but think about the capacity. Think about, is it refined? Is it optimized for the best workflow? I'm going to show you something. We've got a budget now. So this is an example. Say here's your gazebo. You've got your oven at the back, oven, customers. So they come in this way, you take your orders here, I'm imagining, orders. It's really difficult to write this way up. This is fine so far. So far, so good. So you've got customers in, orders, oven. Here, if you had your pizza making station, and then you had your boxes ready, and you were slicing up there as well. So customer in, take their order, over to the pizzas, make the pizzas, into the oven, cook the pizzas, out of the oven, into the box, back to the customer. You've got a workflow that is optimized, and it works round in that circle. If you were going customer in, pizzas, oven, slicing, forward, then you've got a clash here where people are going to bump into each other. You want to make sure that your workflow is optimized. Another tip that you could take from this is to take your setup and do a practice run. It costs nothing. Get a bit of space, set up, and then see where people could be bumping into each other or where you could be losing time. See if you take a pizza out of the oven, or if you take any food out of where it's being cooked and you want to naturally put it down somewhere, can you get a table there or optimize that workflow? So that's another mistake. Mistake number 8 is not to have an optimized workflow. So number 7, and this is one that catches a lot of people out, and that is overestimating or underestimating footfall and how much you need to prepare. Say you signed up to a street food festival. You don't know how many people are gonna come and buy a pizza. You have no idea. And you think, oh, I could sell 1,000 pizzas. No, doesn't work like that. There's one calculation that you need to make, and we're gonna go back to our little whiteboard to figure it out. What you need to figure out is how many pizzas you can cook in an hour. That's the first thing you need to figure out. So I know, because I'm doing it all fresh, I'm stretching dough, we're doing everything properly, we're not using this pre-bought dough or sauce or frozen bases, we're doing it properly. So I know that in an hour, I can do 20 to 25 pizzas at a good standard in that hour. That's probably around 1 pizza every 3 minutes. I could think about doing more, but realistically, if I throw things in like getting a hole in a pizza and things like that, I'm gonna say 20 pizzas an hour. So I've got my 20 pizzas. Now, what you wanna times that by is how many hours you're there, times, say 6 hours. 6. Now what I end up with is 120 pizzas. That's my maximum. And that's if I was doing all systems go for 6 hours, which is a lot of work. So 120 pizzas. It might be more, might be less. If you can set up and see how many items you can cook in 1 hour at a comfortable rate, and then give yourself a bit of insurance time. Give yourself 10 minutes or take 5 of those items off just in case things go wrong. If an order gets put in wrong, if you get a hole in a pizza, if the oven's too hot or anything like that, any variable that you could throw in, just give yourself that realistic number. Once you've got that, you can figure out, right, it doesn't matter what the footfall is going to be. There could be 10,000 people coming to that day, but I can only do 120 pizzas. So that's what I'm gonna go and take. I'm gonna take 120 dough balls. You could take 10 more. It doesn't really cost much, but you know then your capacity. It doesn't matter about the footfall. It doesn't matter that you're stood at Glastonbury and there's hundreds of thousands of people gonna be there. You can only cook 120 pizzas in 6 hours. Once you've got that calculation done, you know where you stand, and you're not gonna go and massively overestimate or under prepare. You know where you are. Number 6 is dough management, and this is specifically for pizzas, of course. So dough management is really, really important. And when you're looking at food festivals and things, you're going to be looking mainly in the summer. It could be really hot, and that's where things start to overprove. And if you're in a gazebo with the sun, and there's all sorts of stuff that could make your dough overproof and become unworkable, which would be an absolute nightmare. What my biggest tip would be is to try and manage that dough the best that you can. Use, again, another tip from Massimo is use frozen bottles inside each tray. So you've got a tray of dough, tray of frozen water, tray of dough, tray of frozen water, and that keeps it almost like a refrigerated system. If you can find something to keep that dough cool, then do it. But again, you can practice in advance. If you've got a weekend that is going to be 30 degrees, then if you've got a weekend the week before, which is 30 degrees, test out your timings. If you know that you're going to be serving at 11 a.m, try and get your dough as perfect as possible the weekend before. Just do a small batch and time everything to that 11 a.m. time slot and see where you are. Is it overproving? If it is, dial back the yeast or, mix a bit later. There's things that you need to adjust. Make sure that all of your ingredients and your dough is refrigerated or at a good working temperature. And again, practice it beforehand. Prepare it. Failing to prepare is preparing to fail. So Just do as much prep as you can, test things out as much as you can, and you'll be putting yourself in a much better position on the day. Number 5 is underestimating how much help you might need. You've got your ratio of how many pizzas you can do in an hour, but could that be more with an extra pair of hands? You don't want to go and do a festival by yourself. A, it's not fun. You'll be there just making pizzas. Yes, you'll make loads of money, but if something goes wrong, you're on your own. If you can get some decent help, someone that you trust, someone that can just take the orders or, slice up the pizzas when you're done, it will make the world of difference. And then if things start going wrong or if there's a problem that arises, they can be sorting it while you're carrying on serving, or the other way around. You could be making more of your product with help. So if you're used to doing it with 1 or 2 people, see how much of a difference it would make just getting a third person in just for a bit of cash or just for the fun of it. I mean, it's a great day out. It is good fun. So see how much difference it will make just adding a third pair of hands in or a second pair of hands in. I think it could make a massive difference to your workflow. Number 4, and this is massively overlooked, is not looking after yourself at an event. I know it sounds all a bit... Honestly, if you're stood in a tent for 6 hours in the heat, cooking constantly, and you've forgotten to bring any water or even food for yourself, I've been there. I've been massively dehydrated. I've been so hungry cooking other people's pizzas that I realised that it's so important to have just a case of water next to you, or some food that you can just grab and eat. It's so important, and you'll be surprised at how many times people don't think about it, because you think you're at a food festival, you're gonna have so many people around you serving food. It's not always the case, and it's not always the case that you can get any time to go and get anything. So just have some water nearby and have something to just quickly munch on, and you'll thank yourself for it. Number 3 is forgetting a cash float or having signal or backup signal for your card machine. Your means of payment is the most important thing, obviously other than the food, but you need to take payment. And if you can't take payment, it's game over before you've even started. If you have got a cash float, then it just enables you to give change and take cash. If you forget a cash float, then you can't take cash. And if your card reader goes wrong, and it all goes wrong, then you can't even say cash only. You have to have a cash float, and you have to have a backup means for your card machine signal. If you go to a field where there's no signal, yes, there might be event Wi-Fi, but the mast might be a mile away. You need to make sure that you've got backup signal. If you get a little mobile Wi-Fi thing, or if you've got a personal hotspot on your phone, just make sure you're all set up and you've got your cash float, because if you can't take payments, it's game over. Number 2. Now the next one is the most important one, but number 2 is not preparing for every eventuality, and that comes down to things like weather. So yeah, it might say it's really sunny and you're packing your van in the morning and you're thinking, oh, I don't need those weights for my gazebo because it's not windy today. You don't know that. You might get there and be in a wind tunnel and think, why didn't I just put those weights in the van? I've been there so many times, trust me, where I thought they take up so little space. Why didn't I just put them in the van? I know I probably wouldn't have needed them, but I really need them now. And then you're having to search around for things like something heavy just to tie to your gazebo so it doesn't fly away. If you've got it, put it in the van or put it in the car, just pack it. If you've got it, pack it. It's simple as that. One mistake that is massive that people overlook is to not prepare for every eventuality. If you've got it, pack it. Simple as that. Number 1, and this is the big one, this is the one that is the biggest mistake people can make, and that is pricing. Pricing is difficult anyway, but when you go to a festival or somewhere that you've paid to be there, pricing is pretty important. Now, you'll realise that when you go to food festivals or music festivals, the prices of the food are through the roof. And there's a reason for that. They're not just ripping you off. Well, I mean, in some cases they are. When you've got a massive pitch fee, then you've got to make that back before you make any money. So let's go back to our calculation we made earlier. Now this calculation is the root of everything. So you know that your maximum output in those 6 hours is 120 pizzas. Now, if you times that by, how am I going to do this upside down? That is a pound sign. I just can't see what I'm doing. 20 pizzas an hour, 6 hours, we're making 120 pizzas. We're making £12 a pizza. We're charging £12 a pizza. That equals £1,440 if you were to sell out. If you were to cook 120 pizzas in those 6 hours. Now, £1,440. Out of that, you've got to take things like pitch fee, ingredients, staff, fuel, everything. So say your pitch fee, that could be £1,000. Your ingredients could be 200. That leaves you with £240. That's not enough because that's a hard day. Although it sounds good, you do the maths, you think nearly £1,500 for 6 hours work. That's fantastic. But how much is your pitch fee? You've got to put your price up to swallow that pitch fee and make it worthwhile. The other problem is, if you don't do those 120 pizzas, what if it rains? You've got to try and make that money back. If you do half that footfall, if you do 10 pizzas an hour, you're going to end up selling 60 pizzas, and you've got to somehow cover a really expensive pitch fee, say £700, £1,000. You know, you've got to do this maths, and by doing that, working that backwards, you'll come up with how much your pizzas need to cost on average. Yes, you could have some that are lower, have some that are higher. You could see if you can sell drinks at the same time or desserts. You could add different things to your menu. Don't make that workflow more difficult for yourself, but think of other ways that you could possibly make a little bit of profit. That's the biggest bit of advice I could give you. Do that calculation, and it all comes from that how many pizzas can you cook an hour calculation. Do that and then work backwards with your menu pricing to see where you're going to end up. If you've got a 2-day festival and you have a really bad day on day 1, you might have to put your prices up on day 2 to try and get that back. If you have a really good day 1, you could think about dropping your prices at day 2 or keeping them the same. But at least you know that in day 1, you've covered all of your costs and day 2 is just profit. That's the biggest piece of advice I can give you. All of those 10 things are big mistakes that people make, and that I've made most of those mistakes. I'm speaking from experience. By all means, go and do events, go and do festivals. They're so much fun, especially if you're working with other people that you have fun with. They're a great day, you get a massive buzz out of it. But what you don't want is for it to cost you massively. As long as you've got these things ticked off and thought about, you'll have an amazing time. If you've got any questions, leave them in the comments. If you've had any mistakes that you've made at festivals or any events, leave them in the comments. I'd really like to hear about them. And until the next time, I'll see you on the next one.